Hello friends, welcome to learning sessions, and today in this video we are going to discuss about a very important chapter from the module D of Abfm that's related to business analytics as management tool. This chapter is quite important from the theoretical point of view in the case of CIB Abfm 2024. So do watch this video till end, and further if you want to get all the videos which we have covered so far related to Abfm, we have covered all the three modules and for the somewhat part of the module D also. If you want to get those all videos, simply do sign up on our website caib.learningsessions.in, and further on sign up over there, the link is also available in the description out there, and on sign up you'll be getting access to all the free PDFs of all the papers of CAIB at once. Just on sign up you'll be getting the access free of cost, no card information, nothing is actually required. So do simply sign up over there and further start preparing for the same. So let's start the session over here, and further it's related to the business analytics as a management tool. So whensoever we are talking about the business analytics, it's actually related to that it's a combination of what? It's a combination of skills, technologies, practices, so which are actually used so as to analyze the data. Let's take the case that we are having a huge data out there, and further you want to actually analyze all this particular data. Now you'll be having the prerequisite skills with you, you'll be having the techniques with you, you'll be having the models with you, so that you can be analyzing the pattern, and further you can be analyzing the data over there. You can be finding the anomalies, you can find the frauds over there, you can find the total regards related to that will be helping you so as to increase your business sales, and further you can selling more products, cross selling will be there. So and that is actually said to be what? That is a business analytics, and particularly the major most important example related to the same is actually the statistical analysis. Now, what is actually statistical analysis? It would be related to that you will be checking out all each and every bit of the uniform data, and further the data may be structured data that it will be basically be organized, or it may be unstructured data that it is particularly raw data, or it could be a mix of the same of the structured data or the unstructured data that is a semi-structured data. Okay, so we will be learning all about these particular things, so kindly do watch this video. And further, what is the main objective of the business analytics? That we basically want to determine that which particular data is very much valuable to us, which is important to us, and it can be helping us so that we can be basically be boosting our revenue and our productivity, and also it will help us to reach our efficiency too, right? And if we will be looking into the historical data and further the past records over there, and we are analyzing them, we can also be forecasting the future events which are actually related to the activities which have already performed, or keeping in mind the trends in the market out there. And further we can also be keeping our operations much more efficient, and further we can be contributing much more so as to increase the revenue out there. Now let's consider the essentials of the business analytics. First of all, it's related to that you will be getting the data from the various sources. It's not like the case that you're having the data from one source. So if we look at the data streams, you will be having the data from the multiple sources. Let's say case that's it's internal data, or it's particularly the external data, or it could be the market data or the public data out there. And further, now you'll be analyzing the data from the different sources. You'll be finding out the key patterns out there, that what are the different patterns which are available in that particular data, and based upon that you can be using the different statistical method over there. You can be looking at the KPIs, that is a key performing indicators, which will be helping you to get the most out of it. You'll be looking at the trends which basically evolving in the real time out there. You can be taking a support decision based upon that particular data, which will be available to you in the form of facts out there. So that is the essentials of the business analytics. Now let's understand the types of the analytics. So there are different type of analytics which are available. Like we will be having the descriptive analytics. So basically it does what? That we will be looking at the historical data. So whatsoever the past data or the historical data we will be having, we'll be looking at that particular historical data. We'll be finding the key factors out of the same. We'll be looking for the KPIs, that is a key performing indicators from that particular performance data. We'll be discovering the patterns or the trends from that particular data, and further looking at that particular thing, we will be having a comprehensive view over there, right? And we can be using the data mining techniques. So let me just give you an overview related to data mining. It's just related to data having, you're having a huge set of data and you want to get the useful things out of it. That's actually the data mining over there. And further you can also be using the method data aggregation. Data aggregation is related to that you will be aggregating the data based upon the different time frames, based upon the different statuses over there, based upon the different events over there, and you'll be using those particular techniques so that you can can be analyzing the historical data in full trend, and further can be making the most out of it so as to look into the patterns, and further you will be having a complete description related to the same. That is why it is said to be the descriptive analytic. The other one, it's related to the diagnostic analytics over there. Now when we are talking about the diagnostic analysis, we are just concerned about the previous performance so that we can be understanding that what basic things basically take that particular thing to having that particular event. Let's say case that we were having some historical data, we already know that this particular thing happened. Now we are basically looking for the drivers that particular what particular thing particularly forced these particular events to happen over there. That's related to diagnostic analytics, because we are going to diagnose the thing that what was the reason of this particular outcome out there. We can be using the drilling down, we can be using the data discovery, data mining, or correlation, so that we can be looking into the factor that what happened so that this particular event happened out there. And further we can be using different algorithms or classifications so as to basically look at some particular event over there, right? Further, the third one type of the analytics, it is the predictive analytics. Now predictive means what? That we want to predict something, right? So we will be using the statistical techniques so as to estimate something, so as to evaluate the future events out there. So we are basically looking at the past data, we know all the things out there. Now we are going to correlate it into the near future, keeping in mind the latest trends out there, and further we'll be trying to basically predict the near future events based upon that particular data. And it's quite peculiar, and further it is very much important for the marketing team and for the sales team out there. So we can be employing different statistical models or the sophisticated techniques so as to deriving the particular outcome, or particular we can say the future event out there. Further, it's related to prescriptive analytics out there. Now this particular techniques use the data on the previous performance so as to make the recommendations that how similar situations must be managed in the future. So you are already aware related to that these particular events did happen in the past, so this is related to past that actually have happened. And further you want to make sure if these particular kind of events do happen in the future, how we can tackle with this particular situation over there. So it's basically giving us a prescription that how to deal with the situation out there. That is why it is said to be the prescriptive analytics, right? So we were having the different types of analytics. One, it was related to the descriptive analytics. One, it was related to descriptive, which is giving the complete description. And the other one, it was related to the diagnostic, which is actually helping us out so as to find out what basically led to what. And further it was related to predictive, where we are going to predict the on upcoming events out there. And further it's related to prescriptive, that we basically want to get an idea that if something happens alike in the future too, how we can be dealing with the same, right? So this not only, if we talk about the prescriptive over here, this not only basically let us know that what can be happening out there and what was the reason behind it and how we can tackle with the in the future situation out there, but also lets us know, gives us the ability that we can forecast the results over there, and also gives us suggestions for the same, right? Now let's have a look at the elements of the business analytics. What are the different elements of the business analytics? So we are having the different elements, like we have the data mining, we have the text mining, we have the data aggregation, forecasting, and data visualization. So first of all, we are going to cover the data mining. As I've earlier told you that let's say case that you are having a huge data. So we are basically concerned about a huge data out there, and from this huge data you want to get the useful data. You want to get the useful data or the useful outcome where there, right? You basically want to do what? You basically want to extract the useful and meaningful information from the data set out there, right? That's actually what that is, the data mining. And you must have been understanding one term over there, that is the acronym, that is a KDD over there. KDD is basically what? It is knowledge discovery in the database. So in database you must be having some different tables, you must be having the different rows and columns out there. So we basically are talking about the structural data. We are talking about the structural form of data out there. And further you want to find the different relations and correlations performing various functions. So it may be the case that you have basically aggregate the data from the various resources out there. Now you will be performing the different functions over there, and further the data mining technique will be helping you. The data mining technique will be helping you so as to extract the useful information from there. So data mining and knowledge discovery are the two different concepts, but they may may be used interchangeably out there, and information basically which is generated by the using the application related to the business intelligence out there and the advanced analytics out there, it basically involves the examination of the historical data too, and based upon that you will be get extracting the useful data, right? And it can be helpful so as to find out the patterns, so as to find out the anomalies out there. It can be helping you so as to boost your business. It can benefit you in a lot of different manners out there, right? And for the how does it work, basically using the machine learning and the statistical analysis, these are the basic two foundation components of the data mining out there. So we will be using what, we'll be using the machine learning. So we are going to use the machine learning over here, and along with it, we are going to use the statistical analysis. Statistical analysis. So using the machine learning, you will be commanding over the different patterns, and using the statistical analysis, you are going to basically command over the data which you are going to find out through the patterns through the machine learning over there, and it will be helping you a lot so as to manage the data operations which you can be carrying out, right? And further, it's related to the data collection. Now data collection is somewhat related to the data aggregation, but somewhat different from the same, right? So data collection is particularly related to the data is very much important, which you're basically going to analyze out there, and further how that particular data is compiled, that is basically under the data warehouse or data lakes. It's basically related to when we're talking about the data collection in case of the data mining. In that scenario, we are either talking about the data warehousing or we are particularly talking about the data lake. Now these are the resources of the enormous data. Let's say we are having a very big data and a very big repository. The data may be structured, as I told you, or it may be unstructured data out there which we basically want to analyze, and you can be using the machine learning or the statistical technique out there so as to look into that particular data scenarios, right? And further, it's related to data preparation. Like I told you, you must maybe having the raw data. Now series of actions are to be performed. Now let me just tell you a line related to same. So what resources did you use? You are using the machine learning, and further you are using the statistical analysis. Those are the two components. And other than that, what you're actually doing, you're basically having the data with you, and after that you are going to perform some functions over it. You're basically going to perform the functions over it, and that particular related to what, that is particularly said to be the data preparation. It is said to be the data preparation, because before basically applying the different functionaries upon it, you are going to prepare the data. And further, previously you were having the data warehouse or data lake, so that is a huge repository of the data out there. You basically perform the function over there so that you can be preparing the data for what stage, for the data mining stage. You're actually preparing it for the data mining stage over there, right? That is a fundamental related to it. And after that, it's related to, you will going to explore the data. You are going to profile the data. Profiling data means what, that we are going to categorize the data. First of all, we'll be doing what, we'll be categorizing the data, we'll be profiling the data so that we can easily be applying the data mining techniques upon it. It will be related to what, that you are going to clean the data, or it is basically said to be the cleansing, data cleansing. It is said to be the data cleansing over there, right? So these are the things that you want to do. So what is a major reason that we are doing so? Because we want to do what, we want to reduce the errors. So if there were any errors in the raw data that we were having, we basically want to reduce the errors out there, because the garbage input will lead to garbage output. So you are going to go to doing the what, we want to do what, we basically want to reduce that particular clutter out there. So that's related to, we are already concerned about the data quality over there, right? And after that, the final step is related to data mining process over there, where the data scientist will be selecting the proper data mining technique, that what different methods they are going to apply over there, what different algorithms they are going to apply over there so as to mine the particular data. And before the particular technique is applied to the whole set of data, algorithms which are going to be applied on that huge set of data, the machine learning will actually be getting trained when applying it on a smaller set of data. And further, the data scientist will be checking at the output, that whether they are going to get a very good output of the same. It's not related to, let's say I'm having millions of data, I won't be applying all the algorithms on millions of the data out there. But first of all, we are going to apply the techniques on a smaller chunk of data, and further after that it will be applied to the huge set of data out there, so that we are satisfied about the results, right? and further it's related to interpretation. Now the things are not close enough, right? So if we talk about the simple steps, what are the steps? The steps was related to collection of data, that is related to data collection out there. Further it was related to data preparation, we basically prepared the data, and further it was related to the data mining, and after you have mined the data, it's related to reporting the data, because it's very much important. So the data whatsoever the output you have taken out from the huge data, applying the algorithms and all the things, it's the responsibility of the data scientist or the another member of the data particular team over there, science team out there, so as to explain the findings to the executives, to the users over there, so that they can be taking the informed decisions based upon the same, right? Now let's have a look at the types of data mining techniques. So first of all, it's related to association rules. So whensoever we are talking about this particular sense, that's related to association rules. We are doing what? We are going to actually relate the data with each other. We are going to relate the data with each other. How we can be relating the data? That we are going to find the connection. Let's say it is a data D1 and it's a data D2. We are going to find a connection between these two. What is the connection between these two? Okay, so we are going to find those particular things over there. So we will be using the support and confidence level, that how this data is actually supporting this particular data, or what is the support of this particular data to this particular data, or what degree of connection is particularly between this particular data over there, so that it will be helping. So this particular support and confidence, this will be helping us to conclude the process of evaluating the relationship between the two data sets out there. That's the first technique that we can be using, right? And the other one, it could be related to classification. Now as I told you, that classification leads to what? That we are basically going to categorize the data. We are basically going to categorize the data over there. You are having the different sets of data, let's say D1, D2 up to D million. Okay, so basically you will be doing what? You'll be categorizing the sets into different sets out there, so that if we apply any query on the particular set over there, we will be getting a very quick result. We will be getting a quick result. So what is the main essence of this particular technique out there? That we were having a very huge data, so we basically categorize the different data using the different algorithms of the data mining techniques. Now particularly if we will be running a query over there, we can easily be getting the output of the same, right? That's actually the main funda, right? Further it could be related to clustering. Now clustering is actually related to different from the categorization. Categorization is particularly related to where it is belonging to one particular category, but when we are talking about the cluster, it's related to that we are going to put together all the things which looks homogeneous, which basically are homogeneous, or which are sharing the attributes, sharing the similar attributes, right? And based upon that, we are to put together all the things. That's the main thing related to clustering out there. Further it's related to regression. Now regression is actually related to what? That you are having the one set of variables, you are having one set of variables, you are having the past data related to the same, and further based upon that you will be applying the different regression techniques, whether it's related to linear or curvilinear, and further we are going to predict the future outcome of the same, which may be closely related to the whatsoever happened in the previous stages over there, right? And further it's related to sequence and path analysis. Now sequence and path analysis does what actually? In case of sequence and path analysis, we are actually finding the different patterns. So different patterns out there, or we can say different type of the events which are related to each other, different type of values which may be related to each other. So we are basically concerned about the same in case of sequence and path analysis, right? And further when we talk about the neural networks, like the human brain neurons, like the human brain neurons, that how those particular brain neurons are connected to each other, we are basically find the relationship in a synthetic manner between the data sets, that how this particular data may be related to other data set out there, right? That particular relationship is to be find out. So that's particularly under the neural network. So we are having the different techniques. It's first of all the technique was association rules, then classification, third is clustering, fourth is regression, fifth is sequence and path analysis, and further the sixth one is neural networks, right? Now let's understand the benefits of the data mining. Now, what are the different benefits? Definitely, we can do increase the productivity. We will be improving the quality of the our service to the customers. Let's say the case that you are having a huge set of customers. Let's consider the case of the banks out there, and you basically want to showcase something to your customer which is relevant to your customer. Now, if I having applied the data mining techniques, you can easily be going through the profiles of the customer and can be suggesting a useful product to the customers, and it will be basically increasing what the cross sales will increase, right? Ultimately the revenue will increase, and ultimately our service level to the customers will also be increasing there, right? And also it can be helpful for us so as to manage the supply chain. It basically increases the production uptime. So those all things can be worked over there. We will be having strong risk management. We can reduce the overall cost of the operation efficiencies over there, right? So those things are very much helpful, and these are the common benefits of the data mining. Now let's understand the differences between the business intelligence and the business analytics. Now, so far we have talked about the business analytics, right? So, in case of business intelligence, actually we are doing what? So, first of all, let me just tell you that business analytics is having a broader aspect, where is a business intelligence. It's actually a subset or a tool of the business analytics, right? So, you must be basically concerned about, first of all, that business intelligence is a subset or a tool of the business analytic, right? And further, business intelligence actually does what? It actually does what? We will be looking into the present data. In case of business intelligence, present data, plus we will be looking into the past data, and further we will be looking for the different patterns so as to analyze the things, right? So as to analyze the procedures over there. That's the fundamentality to business intelligence, right? And if we talk about the business analytics, we will be looking for the reasons, different reasons, and further different factors, different reasons, different factors which basically led to the present situation. So that is a difference. It may sound some perplexed one, but let me tell you, in case of business analytics, when we talk about the analytics, we are looking for the reasons, because when we analyze we found the reasons, right? So we basically looking at the reasons, we are looking at the factors over there which basically lead to the present situation. But when we talk about the business intelligence out there, we basically do what? We basically just do analyze the past and present particular data over there, so as to basically find out the patterns and the trends, right? That's the main fundamentality to business intelligence and business analytics. The second one, it's related to predictive analysis, or particularly BI tools are the part of business analytics. That's why I told you that it's a subset of the same. And for the descriptive analysis, BA, that is a business analysis, is having wider boundaries. So if we're talking about the descriptive analysis, or if we're talking about the BA over there, they're having a wider scope. That's the main funda, right? And further, it's related to data analytics and further business analytics. So when we are actually talking about the data analytics, when we are talking about the data analytics, it's just related to what? That you're going to analyze the data. So we are having the data over there, and we're talking about the data analytics. So we are basically going to analyze the data over there, and further we are going to gather some information from the same. We are going to gather some information from the same, so that we can be using this particular thing for making decisions based upon the same. That's the data analytics. Okay, so we basically did analyze the data, we got the information from the same and used it for decision making. That is what? That is actually your data analytics. And when we're talking about the business analytics, it's a broader chain. It's a broader chain, and ultimately the same thing, that it looks for the reason and factors that basically led to the present situation out there, right? So that is the thing. It will basically differentiate between the data science and the business analytics. Analytics get used by the data science out there to guide the decision making. Okay, so basically the data science is actually a huge thing. It's basically a huge thing. And further, the data science is uses what? It uses a business analytics so that they can be taking the decisions, so that they can be taking the decisions out there, right? That's related to the business analytics and the data science. If we compare to the data science and business analytics, so business analytics is basically a tool which is used by the data scientist so as to make a decision, right? And further, it will look for the data science. Data science is actually related to what? That you want to, it's a broader aspect, that you want to investigate the data. You want to do what? You want to investigate the data, overall data, so that particularly you can make some decisions based upon the same. So for that particular purpose, you are using what? You are using the business analytics. Okay, so that's the main part. And further, the business analytics basically aims to solve some one particular problem. So when we are basically talking about the data science, it's related to a huge aspect, related to some broader aspect, where you're basically looking for some problem to be resolved, a major goal, right? And for the business analytics is particularly used so as to solve some one query or one issue, right? And for the data science is not always required, because data science genuinely investigates solution to open-ended questions. The questions which are open-ended, broaded, those are particularly required over there. So data science is not required each and every time over there, right? So that's the difference between the business analytics and the data science. And further after that, it's related to industry examples of data mining. So you do require the data mining in the retail sector, in financial sector it's required, in insurance it can help you to find out the best insurance for you, in manufacturing it can be helping you so as to basically increase the production uptime, or so as to reduce the cost out there. In entertainment it can give you personalized suggestion, like it gives us in the case of Netflix and something. In healthcare it can basically diagnose the medical diseases, it can treat the patient and can analyze the x-rays and other things over there, right? So it is having a very huge application out there, right? And further it's related to the text mining and text data mining. Now text mining is related to what? That you are having a text data, you are having a text data. Now the text data may be related to a raw data, it may be a raw data. That is what raw data is actually, what it is, unstructured form of data, unstructured form of data, that it is not having any kind of particular form, right? So it's unstructured data. And further when we are talking about the organized data, when we are talking about the organized data, it means what? That we are talking about the structured form of data, we are talking about the structured form of data, right? So that's the main essence related to it. So main thing is related to what? That either from the raw data or from the structured data or from the semi-structured data, we want to find out the different patterns. We want to go for the different trends. If there is any anomaly, we want to look for the same. That's the main funda related to text mining or the text data mining. I can quote you a very good example. Let's consider that you are having a sensor. You are having a sensor, and this particular sensor is recording the readings each and every second, and you are having the data for from the last 6 months, right? From the last 6 months, and you want to get some useful information from this particular data. If we look at the same thing, it's basically a very huge data and for the very raw data, and further you want to basically look for some pattern from there. Now you can be using the different techniques, you can be using the different data mining techniques out there, text mining techniques out there, so that you can be getting the useful information, you can be extracting the useful information from the same, right? That's the main fundamentality to the text mining or the text data mining. I have already told you structured data is something that is actually standardized. It's basically, let's say, standardized in the form of table. Now in case of table, we are having the different rows. If we basically talking about the Excel also, these are the different rows, and further these are the different columns out there, right? So you're basically looking for the different techniques that if you're having a structured data, it's basically quite easier so as to basically look for the things out there. But if you're having unstructured data or the raw data, where the data is not in a particular format over there, that's a raw data out there. And further it may be the case that you're having a JSON file or an XML file. In case of JSON file and XML file, you're having some structure, but that data cannot be used as it is. You cannot be used the data as it is. So that is actually what? That is actually related to, it's a structured form but not can be used exactly. So it's said to be what? It is said to be semi-structured data. So the best example related to the structured data and semi-structured data, I have already gave you the same, and that is the main funda related to it. And further it's related to text mining tools and the natural language processing. Now what is NLP? Let's say the case that you are having a conversation, it's a, let's say it's a social chat software, and further they want to show you personalized ads like the Facebook does or the Instagram does. Okay, so it's a social chat software out there, and further you have been talking to your buddies, you have been talking to your family and friends out there, and particularly they want to get the useful things out of the same. Now, it's actually a very huge data. We are not talking about single person, we are talking about the crores and millions of the person out there, and they want to basically showcase them the personalized ads. They want to actually showcase them the personalized ad. Now how they'll be showcasing the personalized ad? If they will be going through each and every text. Now in each and every text, the context may be different, the feel may be different, their attitude may be different, their talking sense may be different. So they want to look forward, they want to look for the different things out there, and it's very much important that they will be looking for the natural language. They want to basically process the natural language out there, right? So that is actually also required. Okay. And further, it's related to text mining techniques. Now there are different text mining techniques which are available. First of one, it's related to text pre-processing. Now the text itself is actually not available that you can be mining the data from the itself. So you need to pre-process the data over there so that it can be used particularly, right? So let's say case that we were having one form of data, we were having the one form of data, and for the before processing it, before text mining it, we need to basically perform some functions. Some functions are to be performed. So if these functions are performed, only then this particular data or the output of the same can be used for the data mining techniques or the text mining techniques over there, right? That's the main thing related to it, right? Okay. And further, it entails processing of the data. As such, we can be going for the language identification. So these are the different techniques in the particular process which can be used. Pre-processing of the text can be used, that is liquid to related to what, related to the language identification. Or we can be going for the tokenization, that we want to give a token to some particular speech of the text over there. Like we basically want to find the nouns, verbs, etc, etc. So we will be giving some token to it, right? That is actually said to be tokenization. Further, it could also be related to part of speech tagging, that we can be tagging some part of speech or some particular dialogues over there. Or we can also be using it for the syntax particularly parsing over there. We can parse some syntax out there, right? So this is actually related to pre-processing over there, that you were having a huge data. We basically use a different pre-processing techniques. Either it is language identification, tokenization, or particularly parsing or finding out the parts of speech out there. And further, then we will be using this particular format because we have already given the different tags to the language and further to the different text over there. And then we'll be using this particular information, right? That's related to the first technique, that is a text pre-processing. The other one, it's related to the information retrieval, that is said to be IR. Now, what is information retrieval? Now, in case of information retrieval, you'll be process of locating and delivering the pertinent data. So let's say case that you are having some important data or crucial data also out of some important data out there. So you are basically looking for those particular pattern, right? You were already having a queries out there, you are having the different phrases out there. Based upon that, basically you want to fetch the data out of it. Now we can, in this case also, we can go for the tokenization. Tokenization is actually related to what? Tokenization can also be related to that there was a huge, let's say, speech conversation, and you want to get a synopsis of the same. You want to get a simple para out of the same, right? That is also said to be what? That is also said to be the tokenization, right? And the third one is related to what? Token which are incorporated into models. Token which are incorporated into models. Let's say case you were basically having a bag of words, you were having a text string, so you can be using those techniques too. That basically you clustered a number of different texts so that those can be used interchangeably. Or you basically had the different bag of words which are basically used and make sense to you as per your software and algorithms out there, right? And for the document matching activities, that you're going to match some particular document to one thing or other one, those things can also be used. And also stemming can be used, and stemming is very much important because it decreases the overall space which is actually required for indexing the files there. Now, what is the main usage of stemming? Like in the case of stemming, we basically doing what? We are going to remove each and every prefix and suffix. Let's say case if there was any word, any sentence, so we are going to do what? We are going to remove the suffixes, we are going to remove the prefixes, and further it we will be looking for the root word which is actually making the sense to you, right? So it basically decreases the overall space actually required, and basically it improves the information retrieval process, right? So that's a second one, right? It's related to information retrieval. So basically we talked about the pre-processing, that was the first one, text mining technique. So it was the pre-processing technique. And further, the second one, it's related to what? Second one, it is the information retrieval, right? And the third one, it's related to NLP, that is a natural language processing. That is the natural language processing. Now, natural language processing is actually what? That you are going to process the language in a natural manner. That there was actually a let's say chat or something between two humans or more a person of groups over there. Now, in that scenario, you are going to look for the different things, that parts of speech, their sense of talking, their attitude, their emotions, each and everything, so that you can find out the things more vibrantly, and further can be looking for the different patterns and can be processing the data accordingly, right? So it basically, NLP gives the machines an ability that they can comprehend the spoken and written forms of human language. So if some people are talking to each other, the machines can be comprehending, the machines can be interpreting from the same, right? That's the main fundamentality to it. And basically it includes some subtasks out there. So NLP basically includes some subtasks. Let's have a look at it. So first of all, it's related to summarization, that you basically want to summarize the different topics. You want to basically get a synopsis of the same. That is a summarizing, right? And the second one, it's related to you're looking for part of speech, like you that will be you will be tagging the parts of speech where a verb is used or a particular noun is used, adjective is used, or so on, right? And further, the third one, it's related to that you are going to do the semantic analysis. You're going to do the semantic analysis, that you basically want to find the main context of the thing out there, if the unstructured data is there, right? That's the main funda and the main parts, sub parts related to the NLP, right? And further, it's related to text categorization or the text classification. Now, what is actually text categorization or text classification? Now, basically, you're going to analyze the different documents, and based upon the same, you'll be classifying it into the different categories or the different topics over there, right? And you can be giving the synonyms or the abbreviations, you'll be classifying as per that. And further, it's related to, it will make your processing much faster, like I told you in the case of data mining techniques also. And further, it's one related to the sentiment analysis. So fourth one, it was related to the text categorization. Text categorization, that's the data mining techniques we are talking about. First, it was related to the pre-processing. The second one, it was related to information retrieval. Third, it's related to the natural language processing. Fourth, it's related to text categorization. And fifth, it was related to sentiment analysis. So we are having the sentiment analysis after the same. Now, what do you mean by sentiment analysis? You'll be looking whether the sentiment was positive or negative, right? And further, you are looking for the sentiment analysis from the internal or the external form of the data over there. Looking at the same, you can get to know the attitude of the customer during the course of time. What was the attitude of the customer, and further, what information was giving as per their opinion? Was it sarcasm? Was it something else? So that's related to sentiment analysis, right? And the further, it's related to extraction of information. It's related to extraction of information, which is information extraction, IE over there. Now, what is IE over there? Basically, that you are going to get the pertinent information from the data. That you are having some data with you, you are looking for some pertinent, crucial information, important information out there, right? And it may be related to attribute or feature selection, that you're basically going to select the most important attribute from the same by using the predictive analysis, okay? And further, it could be related to feature selection out there, that based upon the subset of the features, so as to improve the accuracy of the classification task out there, you are basically looking for the significance, so as to reduce the number of dimensions out there, right? And it could be related to named entity recognition. Basically, you want to pick the name of some locality, some name out there, right? That's main fundamentality to named entity recognition. That is extracting information. That what information you're going to extract? Either you're going to extract the attribute, either you're going to extract the feature, either you're going to basically extract the named entity from the same, right? That's related to extraction information, and that's all about the text mining data, text mining over there, or text data mining, right? And that will be all related to this particular video. I hope that you must have enjoyed the video and content of this particular video. So do log in right now, do sign up right now on our website caib.learningsessions.in, and simply on sign up you'll be getting access to all the PDFs of all the 5 papers of CAIB. So do sign up right now and start preparing for the same. Thank you so much, and see you again in the next video.